Have you ever felt that strange, almost magnetic pull? As if something far greater than yourself is quietly whispering through the chaos of your everyday life. Through repeating numbers, chance encounters, or dreams that feel more real than waking moments. Like there's a hidden pattern behind the randomness, a soft echo in the mirror, a subtle alignment of thoughts and stars. What if I told you that this sensation isn't a coincidence? That what you're experiencing is a reflection of an ancient and powerful truth. A truth so fundamental and sacred that it has echoed through time, hidden in symbols, encoded in sacred texts, and passed on by mystics and sages who saw what others could not. That truth is captured in a single phrase, as above, so below. This isn't just poetry. It's not a metaphor. It's a law, a cosmic blueprint that reveals how everything is intimately connected, both seen and unseen. It's a key to understanding yourself and the universe, woven together like threads of the same divine fabric. The cosmos and the cell, the sky and your soul. Every layer of reality, mirroring, echoing, repeating. And today we're going to unlock this forgotten wisdom. We're going to go far deeper than memes and surface-level interpretations. We'll peel back the layers and discover what as above, so below truly means. And why it has the power to change how you experience everything around you. Because here's the truth. Most people misunderstand it. They reduce it to a cute phrase or a passing thought. But the real meaning is something no one talks about. This principle, also known as the law of correspondence, is one of the Hermetic laws, foundational truths passed down through the Hermetic tradition. These teachings are said to come from Hermes Trismegistus, a legendary figure who united the wisdom of Egypt and Greece, the divine and the human, the visible and the invisible. His teachings were inscribed on the Emerald Tablet, a cryptic text that holds some of the deepest spiritual truths ever recorded. The law of correspondence states that all realms of existence, mental, physical, spiritual, cosmic, are reflections of one another. That which is above, the great, the cosmic, the divine, is mirrored in what is below, the internal, the human, the individual. The stars influence your spirit. Your thoughts ripple into the cosmos. This principle offers a radical idea. Nothing is separate. Everything, from the galaxies spiraling in the heavens to the feelings within your chest, follows the same patterns. Reality is holographic. Each part contains the whole. Let's break this down. As above refers to the macrocosm, the vast external world, stars, planets, divine realms, universal intelligence. So below points to the microcosm, your internal world, your thoughts, emotions, soul, and body. What's above is within you. What's within you shapes what's above. This is not just mystical philosophy. It's observable, repeatable, and real. Consider this. The spiral shape of a galaxy, billions of light years away, is the same spiral in a nautilus shell you can hold in your hand. The branching patterns of trees and rivers mirror the neuron pathways firing in your brain. The electromagnetic pulse of your heart resonates with the Schumann frequency of Earth itself. Even the breath you take, inhale, exhale, is a sacred rhythm. A mirror of the universe's own expansion and contraction. From the cosmic to the microscopic, reality repeats itself in sacred geometry. Patterns within patterns. Fractals of the infinite. Everything connected. Everything speaking the same language. This is what the ancients knew. This is what we have forgotten in our hyper-rational, disconnected age. But when we remember, when we see the signs again, something shifts. When you begin to live by this principle, the way you see the world transforms. You no longer feel separate. You stop chasing the illusion of control. You begin to observe with reverence. You realize that the chaos in your life may mirror chaos in your mind, that the world isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. And the love, peace, or meaning you seek, it starts with how you speak to yourself when no one is watching. As above, so below becomes more than a phrase. It becomes a compass, a lens, a language. Through it, you begin to decode your reality. You see that every emotion, every synchronicity, every challenge is part of a larger conversation with the universe. And if all things are connected, then even a small shift within can ripple across your entire life. The micro affects the macro. A single healed wound in your heart can soften the way you speak to others. A moment of awareness can change the entire course of your day. And here's the wild part. Some of the pain you carry might not even be fully yours. It could be ancestral, collective, energetic. By facing it, you're healing more than yourself. So ask yourself, if the universe is reflecting you, what are you showing it? And what do you want it to show back? This is the beginning of a powerful shift. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into how this quantum science and spiritual practice. We'll talk about synchronicity, the illusion of separation, and how awareness alone can reshape your world. Because once you start seeing through the eyes of correspondence, you realize the world was never outside you at all. It was always within. So how does this ancient and mysterious principle of as above, so below truly manifest in the complexity of our daily lives? How does it go beyond being a poetic concept or a mystical quote shared online, and instead become a living, breathing lens through which we can experience reality more deeply, more intentionally, more fully? Let's begin with this truth. Your internal world doesn't simply mirror the external one. It actively participates in its formation. And the external world, in turn, speaks back. There's a conversation always happening between your thoughts and your environment, between your emotions and the events that unfold around you. It's not linear. It's not logical. It's vibrational. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed, anxious, or mentally scattered. Didn't it seem like everything around you became more chaotic too? People snapped more easily, delays multiplied, misunderstandings piled up. Now contrast that with the days when you felt calm, centered, and open-hearted. Conversations flowed effortlessly, time slowed, beauty became more visible. This isn't coincidence. It's correspondence in action. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung called it synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel too aligned to be random. You're thinking of someone and they call you. You're wrestling with a decision, and a podcast randomly playing offers the exact insight you needed. Or you're lost in life, and then, suddenly, someone says the one thing that realigns you. These are the signatures of a deeper intelligence weaving through your reality. An intelligence that responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. But let's go deeper than psychology, into the quantum field itself. Modern physics, especially in the realm of quantum mechanics, is revealing what the ancients have whispered for centuries, that observation collapses probability into form. That reality is not fixed until consciousness engages with it. That energy and intention quite literally shape the material world. In this sense, your attention is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. When you place your awareness on something with clarity, presence, and emotion, you begin to resonate with it. You are tuning your internal signal. And the universe, this vast, intelligent mirror, responds in kind. Not always instantly, not always how you expect, but always with precision. This is why spiritual practices, meditation, visualization, journaling, breathwork matter so much. They are more than routines. They are tools of attunement. They help you clear the noise and stabilize your frequency. They help you become conscious of what you're broadcasting and refine it. Yet, here's where many seekers pause. They fall into the trap of thinking that correspondence is about thinking positive or manifesting desires. That if they focus hard enough on a vision board or repeat enough affirmations, they'll attract their dream life. But the true law of correspondence is not a vending machine. It's not about pretending to be happy or avoiding discomfort. It's about truth, depth, radical self-honesty. It invites you to go inward, to illuminate your blind spots, to feel your buried emotions, to examine your conditioned beliefs. Because what you haven't healed will repeat. This law whispers, what you suppress, you project. What you avoid, you attract. What you resist persists until it is met with awareness. The universe isn't punishing you. It's showing you what still needs your attention. Your relationships, your recurring challenges, your emotional patterns, they are not random. They are reflections, and within each mirror is a message. When you take responsibility for this dialogue, everything changes. You stop pointing fingers. You stop outsourcing your power. You stop waiting for a miracle and realize you are the miracle. Because when you shift your internal state, the field around you adjusts. Subtly, powerfully. The world rearranges in response to your new frequency. People feel it. You walk into rooms differently. You speak with more presence. You attract more clarity, more synchronicity, more alignment. You stop chasing. You start magnetizing. You become the sign you were begging for. This is what it means to live the principle of as above, so below. It's not philosophy, it's a path, a radical act of awakening, a remembrance of your role in this grand co-creation. And it begins the moment you stop escaping reality and start decoding it. In the next part, we'll explore how this principle extends into your relationships, your connection to others, and the collective healing of humanity. Because once you truly understand the blueprint, you begin to see it everywhere. Let's now explore how to embody the profound Hermetic principle of as above, so below, in the very fabric of everyday life, where spiritual insight is no longer a concept, but becomes a lived and felt experience. This is the point where wisdom moves from the intellect into the nervous system, into breath, into behavior. It stops being an idea and starts being your essence. Because knowing the law isn't enough. Wisdom without embodiment is just noise, comforting perhaps, but ultimately empty. The true power of this principle is only activated when it becomes your internal compass, quiet, constant, invisible, yet guiding every word you speak, every boundary you set, every truth you stand for. So how do we live that way? We begin with presence. Most people live in perpetual reaction, reacting to emails, to past wounds, to external pressure, to inherited beliefs. But embodiment demands something different. It demands response, and response requires space. It asks for a pause, a breath, a grounding into the moment. Because the above, the realm of clarity, archetypes, intuition, can only speak through the below when we are available. When our mind isn't cluttered and our body isn't numb, presence is the tuning fork. It opens the channel. Next, we cultivate awareness, not only of what's happening around us, but of what's moving within us. What am I feeling right now? What stories am I unconsciously living out? What is my body saying? And am I listening? Because the law of correspondence doesn't operate in abstraction. It's intimate. It's reflected in the tone of your voice, the speed of your breath, the stories behind your choices. The quality of your inner world defines the texture of your outer world. This is where the real initiation begins. we must become pattern recognizers, noticing the subtle loops of emotion, behavior, outcome, and asking, what is this showing me about myself? That recurring heartbreak, that repeated trigger, that dream that keeps eluding you, they're not mistakes, they're messengers. And when the same theme shows up in different forms, it's not the world punishing you, it's life inviting you to wake up. The question is, are you ready to listen? Because the more fluent you become in reading these signs, the more you realize life isn't chaos, it's choreography. The synchronicities increase, the inner resistance dissolves. Even the pain begins to make sense because you see the pattern and you trust the process. But living this way demands humility. The humility to be taught by life, to surrender control, to admit you don't always know what's best, and to let the mirror show you. Because often, what's reflected back isn't your conscious desire, but your unconscious belief. And when that's revealed, you're not being punished, you're being purified. This is why real healing is rarely comfortable, but it's always clarifying. It strips away illusion. Living the principle also requires choice. Conscious, consistent choice. You can be fully aware of the pattern you're in. You can understand the lesson intellectually. But until you choose differently, until you embody the shift, the reflection won't change. Correspondence doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you live. So what does this look like in everyday practice? Saying no when your default is self-abandonment. Speaking your truth when fear says, stay silent. Slowing down when your reflex is overachieving. Trusting your gut when your brain is screaming logic. Offering kindness where you used to armor up. Asking for help where you once stayed silent. These small acts are not small. These are rituals of alignment. They signal to the universe, I am different now. And the universe, like any great mirror, responds accordingly. Because when you walk through life as though everything is connected, everything does begin to respond differently. Conversations deepen, opportunities align, coincidences become confirmations. So let this principle show up in how you eat, in the way you breathe, in the way you walk into a room, in the way you rest, speak, touch, and forgive. Let it infuse your calendar, your habits, your posture, your relationships. Let it drip into the mundane until it becomes sacred. And in doing so, you become not just a student of correspondence, but a master of resonance. Someone whose presence shifts the room. Someone whose choices ripple outward. You stop living on autopilot. You start living as a bridge between above and below, heaven and earth, idea and embodiment. This is the hidden art of integration. It's not about perfection, it's about alignment. And when you walk aligned, the world around you walks with you. This is the secret. This is the practice. This is the way. As we transition into the final layer of this exploration, we now step beyond understanding and embodiment. We enter the realm of transmission, a space where your very presence becomes alchemical and your essence begins to ripple outward like concentric waves in still water. Transmission is the moment when the principle of as above, so below no longer lives merely within you, but begins to move through you. It takes root in your gestures, it speaks in your silence, it radiates in your stillness. At this stage, your aura becomes a signal, a pulse, a subtle language through which truth begins to speak without words. You no longer talk about alignment, you emanate it. Your energy precedes your words. Your being communicates long before your mouth opens. People sense it in your gaze, in your grounded presence, in the unshakable peace you carry into every room. Without consciously intending to, you begin to activate something in others, a silent remembrance. You reflect their higher self back to them, inviting them, gently but powerfully, to come home to their own truth. This is the silent transmission. It isn't accomplished through effort or persuasion, but through resonance, through coherence. The more internally harmonized you are, the more others naturally synchronize with your frequency, not because you impose, but because you embody. Like a tuning fork striking a chord in others, your alignment stirs an awakening that words could never spark. In esoteric and mystical traditions, this is known as the initiatory presence, a field cultivated by those who have walked through fire, who have danced with their shadows, and emerged lucid. It's the magnetic stillness that reshapes the atmosphere when they enter. You feel it in sacred spaces. You feel it in the gaze of a master. It bends time. It softens resistance. It whispers the eternal. But this level of influence carries immense weight and calls for radical responsibility. Because everything becomes a message. Every thought, every word, every glance, every omission transmits. You are sculpting the unseen. You're shaping the electromagnetic field around you. And in doing so, you're inviting others into coherence or into confusion. So the question becomes, what are you transmitting? Is it rooted in integrity or diluted by performance? Is it steeped in presence or distorted by projection? Is it infused with openness or veiled in defense? This is not a call to perfection. It is a call to energetic congruence. To be so internally aligned that nothing is left fragmented. That no internal war secretly sabotages your outward peace. That your actions, your words, your silences are threads of the same fabric, whole, real, and attuned. Because when you become the embodiment of inner unity, you organically become a transmitter of outer harmony. Your presence becomes a sanctuary, a frequency others can rest in, heal in, remember themselves in. And this isn't a final stage, it's a living rhythm, a sacred devotion, a daily refinement through presence, truth, and humility. It's a fire you tend, not a trophy you win. Perhaps this is the ultimate revelation of as above, so below. That when we live the truth inwardly with devotion, it echoes outwardly with power, not as doctrine or dogma, but as living proof. You become the medicine you once searched for. You become the teacher you once begged to find. You become the mirror through which others see their soul again. This is the legacy of resonance. This is the path of the silent revolutionary. This is how we turn embodiment into transmission, and transmission into transformation. So live this principle in your every step. Breathe it into your conversations. Transmute it through your choices. Let your presence become a portal. And in doing so, you won't just change your story. You'll reshape the frequency of the field around you. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the soul whispers, so the world responds. When the principle of as above, so below is not only understood, embodied, and transmitted, but also wielded with conscious intent, something extraordinary begins to unfold. You enter the realm of co-creation. This is not passive existence. This is sacred participation. The universe is no longer a stage upon which life merely happens to you. It becomes a living canvas. And you become the brush guided by divine rhythm, painting reality with awareness and purpose. At this stage, you realize that reality is not fixed. It is fluid, responsive, interwoven with your frequency, shaped by your perceptions, colored by your choices. Your inner landscape and the outer world are in constant dialogue, whispering possibilities back and forth through the veil of form. To co-create is to listen deeply, to the nudges, the symbols, the synchronicities. It's to understand that signs are not random. They're responses, echoes of your energetic state, Clues from the invisible realms reminding you that creation is not a one-way act. It's a communion. This isn't about controlling the outcome. It's about aligning with the rhythm. You no longer force, you attune. You move when moved. You act when guided. And because you are no longer resisting the currents of life, manifestation flows through you like a song you no longer need to write, only to sing. In this space, prayer becomes dialogue. Intention becomes architecture. Imagination becomes blueprint. Every emotion is a frequency. Every thought a brushstroke. Every breath a yes to something unseen yet deeply felt. The ancient alchemists knew this well, that to shape the outer world, you must first refine the inner world. Not through effort, but through presence. Not through striving, but through surrender. You don't need to shout to be heard by the universe. You need only to become still enough to feel its response. Co-creation is not about ego, it's about partnership. It's the dance between the finite and the infinite, between your heartbeat and the heartbeat of existence. When you enter this state, you're not just reacting to life, you're composing it. And from this space of deep alignment, the fruits of creation begin to emerge, not as rewards, but as reflections, not as achievements, but as manifestations of your resonance. So ask yourself, what am I tuning into? What am I calling forth, not with my words, but with my being? What kind of world is echoing back to me through the lens of my vibration? Because when you embrace co-creation, you're not just crafting a personal life, you're shaping the collective dream. As we reach the conclusion of this sacred journey, we are not merely ending a chapter. We are stepping across the threshold into the deepest chamber of all, the sanctuary of remembrance. Not memory, not nostalgia, but remembrance, a profound and sacred return to the essence of our being. It is not the recollection of something lost, but the reactivation of something eternal. It is the felt knowing that what we've sought outwardly has always lived within us, quietly pulsing beneath the surface. It is the moment in which all searching ceases, not because the path ends, but because you recognize that you were never separate from the source to begin with. You are not a seeker reaching toward the stars. You are the stars, remembering themselves in motion. You are not a soul trying to ascend to the heavens. You are the sky itself, vast, infinite, waiting to feel its own expanse again. To remember is to see through illusion with unwavering clarity. It is to strip away the masks we wear, the roles we perform, the striving to improve or become, and instead surrender into what already is. It is a quiet surrender into the still point, into beingness, where nothing is missing and everything belongs. In this place, truth is not an achievement, but a presence. The divine is not a summit, but a mirror. Not something to earn, but something to recognize. This final stage is not about doing more. It is about undoing. Unlearning the layers of noise and distortion. Unraveling the veils that cloud our inner sight. Disentangling ourselves from identities that no longer serve, until all that remains is essence, pure, luminous, unshakable. In remembrance, all dualities collapse like a dream dissolving at dawn. Time stretches and contracts, irrelevant. The narratives we once clung to lose their weight. The roles you've played, the victories and wounds, the doubts you've carried, they all fall away like worn garments at your feet. What is left is the naked self, the infinite curled inside the finite, the whisper of eternity riding your every breath. Here, even the sacred principle of as above, so below transcends its conceptual form. It becomes a portal, a living doorway into the fabric of reality. No longer are you looking up or down, reaching outward or inward. You are looking through the illusion of separation, through the filters of identity, through the shimmering surface of form into the radiant pulse of Source itself. And in that seeing, you do not simply understand the principle, you become it. You are the above. You are the below. You are the sacred thread that stitches the realms of heaven and earth. You are the breath of the cosmos, made visible, made tangible, made whole. This remembrance is both liberation and responsibility. For to remember who you truly are is also to remember who we truly are. Not fragmented individuals, but expressions of a singular divine consciousness. One body, one breath, one being wearing infinite faces. Your awakening is never just your own. It ripples through the grid of life. It whispers into the bones of others. It awakens the seeds buried in the hearts of those you meet. And so, the sacred circle completes. From ignorance to insight. From awakening to embodiment. From embodiment to transmission. From transmission to co-creation. From co-creation to remembrance. Each stage, not linear, but spiraling, deepening, refining, expanding. Each stage asking you to hold more truth, to anchor more love, to radiate more light into the world. This is the holy return, not to who you were, but to who you've always been. The eternal one that watched your becoming with silent eyes. The one that never left your side. The one that is you, beyond all form and story. Let this remembrance become your integration. Let silence speak louder than words. Let your life become your altar. Let your breath be your prayer. Let your presence be the offering. Let your gaze bless what it touches. Let your walk sow beauty into the earth. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to re-enchant it, to see the sacred shimmering through the ordinary, to find the divine in the cracked pavement, the trembling hands, the laughter of children, the tears of strangers. You are not here to become someone else. You are here to remember what you already are, the bridge between realms, the mirror of truth, the living medicine of your lineage, the embodiment of light wrapped in shadow. You are the ancient truth dancing in modern form. You are the breath of eternity pulsing in time. You are the quiet revolution that does not shout but resonates, a frequency felt more than heard. And it all begins again and again with a single remembrance. As above, so below. And now you remember.